Prince Charles has plans to turn Buckingham Palace into a public museum, an idea which his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, is said to be not keen on. Express.co.uk asked readers if they agreed with Her Majesty, and the response was a resounding yes. Buckingham Palace should not be turned into a museum, according to 77% of votes in a poll of 1,600 people held between 2 p.m. Saturday, September the 18th and 9 a.m. Monday, September the 20th. Only 343 respondents, 21%, expressed their favour for the idea, while 2% of voters were undecided. The move to open up the palace is set to be part of a set of visionary plans for a shake-up of the royal family from Prince Charles, first in line for the throne, for when he becomes leader. His ambitious plans include hopes for a streamlined monarchy of just 7 senior working royals, and the opening of royal private spaces to members of the public. Many readers commented agreeing that they too were not keen on the idea, like Queen Elizabeth II. User NHOLCOMBE3 said, "I believe Buckingham Palace should remain a royal family home," while ZIPPY789 questioned the purpose of a royal family without a formal residence, saying, "What's the point of the royal family without Buckingham Palace?" ZIPPY789 also commented that it should only be turned into a museum if the royal family no longer reigned. Other readers were also quick to voice how they opposed the move, with one Express.co.uk reader, RDJ, stating, "Prince Charles, when and if he becomes king, can do what he likes with Buckingham Palace, but until that time comes, if it comes, he can keep his ideas to himself," adding that there are enough museums in London, they do not need to include the Queen's home. Reader Lucy Lancy echoed their sentiments. Lucy referred to the monarch and the palace as symbols of British pride, great history and culture, and that the palace should be left to function as it is now, with members of the public allowed to visit some of its places at certain times. She added that Charles shouldn't go too far with his changes, but ought to keep the monarchy's brand. Others expressed concern over the cost of visiting, with one reader, screen named Oaksy, suggesting they would prefer to see the monarch and stare at that balcony instead of visiting a museum. Another voter, Joe No, believes Buckingham Palace should certainly not be made into a museum. They said the palace is where the King and Queen should reside. Joe No added, "Handy for Westminster Palace, so the PM can have an audience, and a focal point for all the tourists visiting London from abroad. Also handy for local schools, so our next King and Queen can take their children every morning." US resident, Just Peachy, likened the opening of the space to the public to the opening up of Washington, D.C. in the States, and said Buckingham Palace should remain safe and private. They said, "I'm from the USA, and I firmly believe that Buckingham Palace should stay a safe and private place for all the future kings and queens to do their duty for the people they serve. They won't do that to Washington, D.C., because it's a monument to the people. God save the Queen." While some of the 21% in favour of the idea also shared their thoughts. Express.co.uk reader Tinham wrote yes it should, while a user with the screen name Patricia wrote Buckingham Palace is definitely not a home. Charles is right, it's too big for anything else. It belongs to the British people. However, Patricia also believes the change shouldn't be undertaken if it's in response to the royal family wanting to appear woke. They said, "Don't change its history, we have all had enough of this woke syndrome." Reader Imus Jerop sees Buckingham Palace and the royal family as a museum already, suggesting the institution is long past its sell-by date.